Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome to another episode of Strat Extra. My name is Joe Williams. I am your host and trusted advisor. Today's discussion is going to be all about direct sales versus the trusted advisor. We have a very special guest. I can't wait to pick this guy's brain. So please welcome me and joining Stratosphere's very own CEO and co-founder, Mr. Steve Melchiorre. Steve, welcome.
Thanks, Joe. Glad to be here. Excited to talk about this fun subject.
Awesome. Thanks again for popping on with us. So what's been going on? Tell me, how's your summer been going? What's new and exciting in your life?
Well, summer's been great. I just moved to Florida from Chicago last year. So just going through my first full summer here in Florida. And actually it happens to be pouring outside. So if you hear any thunder, I apologize for that, but hopefully we'll have minimal disruptions here. And really just, work-wise, just really been excited to be able to focus 100% of our time and energy on this whole trusted advisor space and all the solutions that we provide in the space. We used to have a managed IT practice and managed cybersecurity practice, and we sold those business units back in December 2021. And again, that allows all of us from marketing and on the executive level to put all of our resources into this trusted advisor space, which we've been in for over 15 years now. So really just excited for the future.
Awesome. So for those audience members that don't know what a trusted advisor is and what direct sales is, can you kind of maybe put that into perspective for our listeners and kind of define each of those for us?
Yeah, I mean, in our space, the trusted advisor, name is getting a lot of recognition now and a lot of movement and growth. For us, we are in the channel or the indirect side of sales for the solutions that we represent. So, folks might hear channel, indirect, and then us trusted advisors are in that indirect space versus a direct salesperson typically works for a supplier, one supplier or one solution provider that only has one brand to represent, where we have hundreds of brands that we have partnered with and essentially can act as an objective and trusted advisor for those different solutions. So it's really a lot different. I know you came from that background. I came from that background of direct sales. And, for so many years now, over 15 years, we've been able to do more of the advisory and give really more objective advisory, client-side advisory for all the folks that we work with today. So for me, it's like, trusted advisor has options, whereas direct sales typically doesn't. They have one solution and they have to try to sell that no matter, if it's good or bad for the client. And then obviously, for me, trust is really just earned through experience, success, having access to different solutions and really just consistency. And I think we'll get to, some of those stories a little bit later about what we've done for some customers.
Right. Awesome. You said something that really stuck with me regarding the trusted advisor. There really is a major shift or a major movement going on right now. I really feel, at least from my perspective, and I'm kind of, I guess, one-sided because I am a trusted advisor, but, I really do feel like we are living in the golden age of the trusted advisor. What are your thoughts on the decline of direct sales and the rise of the trusted advisor approach?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely exciting. It's exhilarating. I think you're right. It is the golden age. I think, this trusted advisor space has been around for probably 20 years or more, but it was very limited way back when. And it was a much more commoditized sale, way back when you and I were in the space when it started, at least for us about 15 years ago. We were primarily just representing different internet solutions, and it was more of a commoditized sale. It was nice to have options, but just due to the market, really just the space itself, it was still limited on what we could sell. So as we fast forward, things have changed so much. And really, it's so many things emerging and happening at the same time. I think over the last 10 years, we saw cloud emerge and grow like crazy. So everything from cloud and as a service gave the channel that we've been talking about and us trusted advisors more solutions that we're able to sell. So I think we continue to see that accelerate based on really just the industry and the technology changing at a really fast pace. I mean, 10 years ago, it was still pretty much on-prem phone systems, call centers, servers, what have you. There wasn't much talk around cybersecurity unless you're an enterprise company. enterprise size company. So really just, it's exciting because of all these new things that we're able to represent. I think it's also completely new technologies, right? Like I mentioned, cyber. We're seeing a lot of movement and growth in the CX or customer experience space, and we have a lot of as a service software solutions that are available now. And then IoT is another big one that we see. So again, just fast forwarding 10 years, it was very limited to now we just have all these different types of technologies that we can represent for our clients and really help them figure out the best path forward. And then for us, we just have access to so much more information, so many better tools. We've got analytics that in many ways are better than Gartner's analytics. We have things like fiber locators. We have the ability to give you a virtual data center tour.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, I want to kind of go back to and talk a little about, you've mentioned a couple of times about how you and I both kind of came from the direct world, and, it's worth talking about. I come from the direct side, just like you. I was out on the streets daily, knocking on doors, collecting business cards, really selling one product from one brand or one company that in a lot of cases, unfortunately, probably wasn't the best fit. I was more focused on selling versus advising and forming a relationship with my clients and prospects. So when I started working here at Stratosphere, it was like a breath of fresh air. I suddenly had more variety. I was more comfortable. The conversations seemed warmer, and I was just more inspired to do my job on a daily basis. So I almost feel like you kind of saw this coming on 14 years ago when you hired me. I think it might have been something that you could have been thinking about. I mean, can you talk a little bit about how Stratosphere got started in this space and how you feel it's evolved from then to now?
Sure. And first of all, yes, audience, Joe has been here for 14 years, Mr. Babyface.
I did shave today. I shaved today.
Joe has been made fun of for many, many years for having a little baby face by customers and prospects. But anyway, you're starting to age a little bit. But,
little gray hairs, little gray hairs here and there.
Yeah. So it's been an amazing run. But I'd say, to be honest, I don't think we saw a lot of that coming. I think we were just lucky and happened to be at the right place at the right time. My partner, Kevin, and I started the company in 2003. So we're almost at our 20-year anniversary. And, we were representing one major PBX supplier. So same story. We only were doing direct sales when we first started, got into the trusted advisor space in that limited capacity about 5 years later, maybe around 2008. So again, I think we were just lucky to happen to kind of fall upon that model and get in that space when we did. And then we just kind of jumped on for the ride. And it's been just amazing to see everything change. And really the best thing about it, it's such a good thing for the client, to be able to represent them, give them true objective advisory and not just push them one way. And at the end of the day, everything is at no cost. We don't charge a fee unless it's like a super large complex where we need engineers to do like a major deep dive. That's a very rare case. In most cases, we don't charge for the advisory services. And then the solutions that we present and represent are at the same price as if the customer were to go to these suppliers directly. So in this indirect space, in this channel space, the suppliers and solution providers have agreed to give price parity, whether you buy it from direct salespeople or indirect. So again, it's a no-brainer. It's a win for the customer on every level. And that's really what's the most exciting part of it.
Awesome. Totally agree with you. And I know when I'm about to say, I'm sure you're going to agree with me, but technology is changing so fast. No single IT person, no single IT team can keep up. How do you feel that us as advisors and our team, how are we staying up to speed on all the solutions and technologies and services that are available in our marketplace? And secondly, how do you feel that we stand out among others who might claim to be trusted advisors?
Yeah, that's a great question and topic. For us, We have 100 hours of required training for every single trusted advisor. About half of those, or 50 hours per year, are supplier-led trainings where we're diving deep with their engineering teams. Whether we need to see demos, understand what's under the hood. That's about half of those 100 hours. The other half are comprised of, multi-day conferences, boot camps, advisory sessions. We also required everybody on the team, as you know, to read the Challenger Sale book. And, I'm really passionate about that. And I think, we want to be really a trusted challenger, not just a trusted advisor, right? So we're here to challenge the customer in the way that they think. And that's just another part of, the required training that goes into every trusted advisor's annual training. And then I think just, we talk a little bit too about our experience, just we came from a telecom background over 20 years ago. And then we became a managed IT provider, a managed cybersecurity provider. So not only have we represented all these different solutions, but we were actually the provider itself. So we were providing, telecom and on-prem solutions. We would do the project management. We had a ton of engineers on staff, and then the same thing for managed IT that we did for over a decade. So you were exposed to that. You were involved in a lot of like virtual CIO meetings with our managed IT customers. So I think that's a big differentiator from us and other trusted advisors, where many of them really just came from sales and they were just selling one thing and they were never actually a service provider delivering the services themselves. So I think that's a big thing that stands out for our team here.
Awesome. So let's talk now about how we've kind of put it into practice. Let's do some client rave stories. Do you want to give some examples about some great wins that we've had as a team?
Well, I think one of the most meaningful wins was the McCormick Place Emergency Hospital that we helped. Absolutely. That we really just built out. We did all the telecom, the cloud phone system, the mobile apps, the Apple iPhone deployments, all the IT setup, infrastructure, Wi-Fi, cybersecurity. And this was at the height of COVID, right? So this was about 2 years ago, summer of 2020. Illinois and Chicago decided to make McCormick Place, which is one of the largest conference facilities in the world. They decided to make that an emergency hospital. So we were fortunate enough to be the vendor they selected to put this all together. We had 2 weeks to put together a 3,000 bed hospital, essentially. And when we got the green light that we won the deal, it was kind of an oh crap moment. Like, we're confident in ourselves, but with that kind of time frame, we've never done something like that. It's typically a few months or longer to do something that complicated and that complex. So we went from designing solutions, proposing them, procuring everything, and implementing it all within 2 weeks. I remember the McCormick CIO was actually crying with the trusted advisor that was working it from our company because they couldn't believe we actually got it done. Fortunately, they didn't have to use the hospital as they thought. So it was great that we got everything built, and they did use it for a little while, but did not end up needing the facility the way that they imagined, just because everything was so uncertain at those times. But still, it was just an amazing story and something to be a part of. On the business side, a couple of notable wins and cool stories. We have a Fortune 100 financial firm. They're a global company, locations all over. They were looking at a cloud call center, cloud contact center solution on their own. We happened to get connected with them in the middle to final stages of their evaluation. And after speaking with them and understanding what direction they were going, we said, hey, wait a minute, there's a solution or two you haven't even looked at. So, that's another cool part of what we do. We have access to solutions that oftentimes the end user customer just either can't find on their own, or it's just almost impossible for them to find, because some solutions don't even have direct salespeople out there pounding the streets. So what was cool about that is when we showed them this other solution, they decided to redirect and go with the solution that we recommended. And it's been a couple of years now. I know they're very happy, and they've been growing with the platform, since it was installed a couple of years ago. So that was a cool one, just to kind of redirect a pretty large organization. And I'd say the last one is a good example of just, I mentioned consistency earlier. And, we've been around such a long time. We've had customers stay with us for decades now. And one in particular, they purchased about 15 different solutions from us. Everything from, cloud PBX to disaster recovery as a service, infrastructure as a service. I believe there's some call center. It just went on and on. And, again, what's neat is it's just the level of trust that we've established with many of our clients. I know that they also had some compliancy requirements too around HIPAA and high trust. So, just cool stories. And again, it just makes it so exciting to be a part of it at this time in the trusted advisor space.
Absolutely. And I want to piggyback on that too. I mean, talking about the trust and the relationships that we've established with our long-term or long-time clients. I actually have one that I kind of wanted to bring up here just for sake of the conversation, but a local multi-location pediatric practice. I've been managing the account for probably going on 12 years. It was one of my first accounts when I first got hired. We've taken the customer everywhere from a legacy on-prem PBX to multiple on-prem upgrades because that was kind of fitting at the time. Obviously into a cloud PBX migration, comprehensive managed IT services with cybersecurity, wiring and low volt cabling. We're actually working on a bid for them right now for one of their office build outs. And actually early in the week, we just reevaluated their fiber services and are going to end up saving them almost $800 a month and doubling their speed. So kind of going to the trust piece, I have a relationship with the doctor where we text each other now. It's beyond phone calls and emails. I mean, he knows I'm always going to respond via email. He knows I'm always going to respond when he calls me. But the fact that he can text me and we can go back and forth and we can handle things that way is very rewarding to me. In addition to that, I know that he relies on my advice to achieve the business outcomes that he's searching for. And that just, makes me feel great as an advisor, and it makes me feel like I'm truly doing my job.
And you are. I mean, if we were to go back 20 years and we just sold an on-prem phone system, we would just be considered a vendor, somebody they can call on for their phones or what have you. But now, that client, like many others, have that level of trust with you where they don't even think twice. They text you or call you and ask to get something done or ask for advice on whatever kind of technology they're looking at. So that's what just makes it so much more exciting and fun than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. So one last question for you, Steve. What notable trends are you seeing right now in our space, and what do you think or what would you like our clients or prospects to be aware of that's out there that they should kind of explore or talk further to us about?
I think, again, way back in the day, it was internet circuits. And then as cloud emerged and was heavy in the cloud phone system space, which is still very popular right now, we're actually starting to not just move people from on-prem to cloud, but from one cloud provider to another because maybe they weren't happy or they went with a solution that just isn't trending the way they were before. Seeing a lot of movement around like the Teams, Microsoft Teams UC native space, like being able to offer that in a native way. We have some really cool boutique providers that do that. And then really just, BPO or business process outsourcing, especially in the call center space, as we know, that has really the highest turnover amongst almost all industries. And when you layer on the COVID effect and the lack of steady labor, it just becomes something even more crucial to organizations to look to outsource that via a BPO. So we represent a bunch of those. Mentioned earlier, cyber was not available in our portfolios, 10 years ago. And now we've seen those, new providers come into our space that we partner with and can represent. And we're seeing that really pick up a lot so far this year. And we expect that to continue because there's so many organizations that still don't have, a managed cyber provider that's doing things like MDR and SOC as a service. And it's kind of the same thing. Not only is the technology so advanced now, but you need human capital, you need labor, and that's almost impossible to find right now. So if cyber is an absolute no-brainer to really just go third party for that, which is, again, is something that we can represent. And then, another cool thing is CX, customer experience. I mentioned that earlier, but we're really seeing a lot of advancements in the technology around AI and being able to automate, more customer requests and tasks more than ever, which again kind of addresses that lack of labor. Because if we can reduce the need for human labor hours, it's going to make our clients and organizations thrive and really stand out from their competitors. So it's cool what's happening right now. Who knows, when we talk in 3 years or 5 years from now, who knows what'll change, but I'm sure it'll be just as exciting, if not more.
Awesome. Well, very much appreciate the insight. Very much appreciate your time today, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us. Before you take off, quick question for you. So knowing that this is a family-oriented show, what is the most Florida man strangest thing that you've seen since you've been down there?
Oh boy. I mean, my friends down here, we joke about it a lot. I don't know. You got me on the spot here.
Didn't mean to throw a curveball.
Yeah, I mean, some are just not appropriate to say on this. Yeah, on this platform here. I'll have to get back to you. Maybe I can add a comment later to our video here. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot.
It's been wild, right? It's just been wild. There's probably just been wild stuff.
Yeah, it's been good down here, but definitely some interesting things. So
awesome. Well, thanks again, Steve. I appreciate the time, and thank you to our listeners, audience, viewers. For more information, please visit us online at www.stratospherenetworks.com. Again, I'm Joe Williams, your trusted advisor. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.